everybody. My name is Dani, and today I want to share with you about my life in America. But before I do that, I want to give you a little overview of life and my journey to America. In this episode, I want to take you to a world through the eyes of a child. As most of you don't know, I was one of the children that was placed in the children's labor camp during the Khmer Rouge regime, which is the Cambodian Civil War that started from 1975 to 1979, which killed almost 2 million Cambodians, and that was nearly a quarter of the population. Back then, I was only 8 years old. I was placed in the children labor camp and was forced to work 12 hours a day in the field under the harsh sun. In exchange for our work, we were given a small bowl of rice or rice soup, which barely had any rice in it. It's just water and papaya blossoms, and it was very bitter. But we had to swallow it in order to survive. In late December of 1978, Vietnam launched an invasion in Cambodia to remove Pol Pot, which is the Khmer Rouge leader, from power. And that was when we escaped to Thailand. And the term Pol Pot is short for the word politician. And the Khmer Rouge is the French word for red Khmer, because Rouge is red as far as I know, and Khmer, so the red Khmer. And in Thailand, we stayed at a refugee camp called Khao I Dang. I'll spell it short for KID, K-I-D, on the Thai-Cambodian border, which was established in the late 1979 and administered by the Thai Interior Ministry and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, which is short for UNHCR. There, the UN allowed us to send letters to guest families abroad. I wasn't aware that we have families abroad. My parents sent letters to families in America and in France. So both families sponsored us, and now we have to decide as to whether to come to America or go to France. And of course, we chose America since we heard a lot of good things about it. And I'll tell you why. So, for example, I heard that you can go to school for free and there are plenty of food to eat, and that we don't grow old there. That's the America that I heard of. Well, at least, that's what I heard, what some people were talking about at the refugee camps. And also, some people at the camps were saying that the Americans don't eat rice. They only eat bread and salad. This makes us very nervous. So we try to eat as much rice as we can at the camps. We also heard that the Americans don't eat fermented fish, which is the mudfish. Our staple food is called prahok. I was like, what? So we finally got word that we were all ready to get on the plane to come to America. We were so excited. We packed our bag, and adults packed their mudfish, the prahok that I just mentioned, mortar pestle, stone knife sharpener. So before we got on the plane, my dad told me that we might not be able to sit together. So he told me one English phrase in case I am thirsty, things like that. So he said, if you're thirsty, just raise your hand and tell the stewardess that, may I have some 7-Up, please? So I recited that phrase many a times until I remember it by heart. So I was just so excited to use that phrase. I can't wait. And after the plane takeoff, I did not realize that I had motion sickness. Oh my goodness, this is all brand new. I was nauseous. I vomit profusely. I cannot eat or drink anything. I was so hungry, but I can't keep anything down. So at mealtime, the flight attendant brought us like baked ham with lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers. I mean, it sounds so good right now, but I couldn't eat anything. So I gave it all to my mom. She enjoyed it. And my throat was so dry. And then when the stewardess walked by, I raised my hand just like my dad told me. And I used that English phrase that my dad told me about. So again, the stewardess came by. I raised my hand and I said, "May I have 7-Up, please?" With my broken English. The stewardess understood. She came back with a 7-Up. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's a magic word. It happens. I just use that word, it happens. And so I was just so proud of myself that I can remember it and I can say that phrase. Just so happy. But as I was drinking in the background, I heard my 2 twins' little sister. They're 6 months old. They were crying nonstop. It was frustrating to hear. I mean, for me to hear, and I bet the people around them must be even more frustrating, and for my parents as well, because they have to endure hearing, these 2 6 months old babies crying. And I just didn't understand the reason why they cry so much, because on a normal day, they don't cry like that. So again, this is while I was on the plane. And so after the eating, the drinking, I needed to use the bathroom, the lavatory. I was so scared about going because I don't know how to use the lavatory. I mean, back in the refugee camp, I also overheard people were saying that they have this toilet that sits so high, and that when you have to get up on that toilet and start squatting. I mean, I had to go, so I got to the lavatory. Then I stood on top of the toilet. I don't know what to do. I was like, wait, is this how the American does it? It's so uncomfortable. This is weird. So like, okay, what do I do? And then before you know it, and then there was turbulence. That was turbulence, and then oh my God, it goes everywhere. So everything went everywhere, because I again thought, this is weird. If this is how the American does it, this is crazy. Because back in Cambodia or in the camp, we don't have toilets nor outhouses, let alone outhouses. If we need to go, we run to find a bush to do our business. And there's no such thing as porta potty. We don't have that luxury. So anyhow, now let's talk about our trip. As we continued on, then we laid over in Japan. And once we lay over in Japan, again, I was still, somewhat nauseous from the flight and everything. And once we land, we were given the Chinese pork buns. I was so excited to see that Chinese pork buns because it was steaming hot. And I didn't think that they eat this kind of food, even in Japan. Because, I mean, through my mind, I've been through war. I don't know about any other countries exist besides my country, Cambodia, in that darkness world. So I didn't know that Japanese eat steam buns, but they gave it to us. So before I even eat that buns, I kiss and I hug that buns for a few moments before I took a big bite. Oh man, it was delicious. So after we lay over in Japan, it's not that long as far as I remember. Probably 3-4 hours, as far as I remember. Then our flights continue to San Francisco, and that's not our final destination. It was supposed to be a short layover. Again, at least that's what I was told. But for some particular reason, we have to stay there for a week in San Francisco. It's not explained to me why, but oh well. I mean, go with the flow. So in San Francisco, it's not bad actually. They loaded us on a bus and took us to this facility that was set up for the refugee per se, and but it was a nice place. It's in a nice building, and they gave each family a private room to sleep in, and they provide hot and cold showers, and oh my land, they also provide rice and baked chicken legs and soy sauce. That was heavenly for me. Remember, I overheard in the camp that they don't eat rice in America. When I saw rice again, I was super happy, super happy. I ate a lot. And I just thought, how is that possible? You know, they said American people, they don't eat rice, only eat bread. So I ate so much on the first night, ate a lot. So after dinner, we went to our room, cold, hot showers. And when we go to bed, I noticed, or when we went to our room, I noticed my dad was turning on this switch. And then boom, there was light. I was so amazed. I thought that it was magic. Just one switch and there's light in the room. And, you know, coming from a war-torn country where we work in the dark at the refugee camp, we don't have electricity. I don't remember even having candles. We light the room with fire pit, you know, to get some kind of light. And then in another part of the refugee camp, yes, there were some electricity, but it's turned on for a certain amount of hours, and then, you know, lights out. So we don't have luxury of electricity to enjoy. So then I was so amazed that I asked my dad if we can leave the light on, you know, when we sleep, because we don't have this luxury ever. And surprisingly, he said yes. I was like, my dad said yes. That's not him. He usually says no, but this time he says yes. So I was so amazed, so happy. So every time I woke up and needed to use the community restroom, I woke up to lights in the room. There's no longer darkness. That was pretty cool. So after a week there in San Francisco, we finally got word that we needed to board to our final destination, which is Utah. And when we got to Utah, after we landed, I walked out from the jet bridge, and I looked and I saw an American family who had 2 daughters, and they both had yellow hair. So I was like, why do they have yellow hair? Because I've never seen yellow hair. In Cambodia, I see everybody have dark hair, and now I'm seeing a yellow hair. It's like, so in my mind, I said, this is a different world that we heard about at the refugee camp. I turned, and then I also turned around and I saw an old lady who had a hunchback. I was so confused. So I felt kind of confused. Why there's an old lady with a hunchback? I thought I heard that America is a place where nobody grows old. How come there's an old lady here? Maybe people at the camp were talking about heaven and I misheard. I don't know. But it can be coincidental because there was, at the camp, there was a church group that were studying, and maybe they talk about the heaven in the Bible, or this heaven. America is considered heaven to our country. And so when I saw this heaven, but I saw this lady, was old lady with a hunchback, I was just so confused. And so anyhow, as I kept walking down the escalator, I mean, everything, I looked around, everything was just so amazing. I mean, this is something so different for my eyes to see. I saw this escalator. I mean, it's like steps moves on its own. It's magic. It's another magic for me because, and then I saw the floor was nice and shiny. I sat on the floor. And then my aunt said, "Don't sit on the floor, it's dirty." I was like, "No, this is not dirty." When I was working in the refugee camp, or no, in the, not the refugee camp, in the time of the Khmer Rouge, in the mud every single day, that's dirty. When I saw this floor nice and shiny, I can, check myself in the mirror. I mean, it's as clear as a mirror, and she said it was dirty. I was confused again. I just don't get it. So when we got to my aunt's house, she served us fish sour soup with lime juice, cilantro, basil, green onions, and she also stir-fried beef vegetable with rice. Oh my land, how happy we were to see rice again. I asked my aunt, I said, "I thought they don't have rice in America." She said, "They lied to you." There are markets here called Oriental Market, where you can buy just about anything. I thought, oh my gosh, we didn't know we packed rahok, or fermented mudfish, equivalent to anchovies, but stronger in smell and taste, or stone mortar pestle, and they have it here. What? I couldn't believe it, but I was just happy to be here in America, to eat rice, not just bread, and to have a little bit more of home than what I expected. So expect the unexpected. Thank you for watching and allowing me to share about my life journey with you. Please keep an eye out for the next video. And if you have something interesting about your life that you wish to share, please comment below and provide me with your contact information if you wish to have your story be heard. Thanks for now. We'll see you next time.